If you show a lot of reviews and organic replies to them that are personal, that has been proven to trigger Google's algorithm and get you more traffic and local service ad leads. I kind of want to wrap up everything we've talked about with online marketing. And man, we've talked about a lot, right? We've talked about Facebook pages, Instagram pages, Facebook business pages, YouTube videos, Pinterest channels, LinkedIn channels, websites, landing pages, CRMs, blogs, et cetera, right? Google. So one thing I think that you've probably seen that I think is the future of online real estate currency is the importance of online reviews. And if you don't believe me, go on to Amazon and watch your own behavior. I am a big tech junkie, which means I am the biggest fan of big tech on the planet. Like, I love Amazon. I love the fact that Facebook and Google know what I'm shopping for and keep showing me exactly what I'm looking for. I love that, and you don't have to love that. You can also be creeped out by that. I love it because it's convenient for me. So I love the fact that it listens to things I say and suddenly I see what I need. It's just less I have to do, right? So I'm very open to it, although it's never been used against me as far as I know. I'm sure I might change my opinion then. With that being said, when we go to Amazon, let's say, and we're going to buy a product of some sort, we're oftentimes deciding which product to buy, which company to buy it from, which amount, all those things. And we generally, when in doubt, we go for the one that has the most reviews because it's the safest bet. It's safe. The guy with 10,000 reviews, I'm going to get my package on time in a good condition, and I will be satisfied with what I've received. In other words, it is for the first time in history, the closest thing to absolute evidence of the level of customer service. It's proof positive of customer service. And that's what online reviews are. So if you want to look like you're going to do the best job for clients, we can actually measure that now by the amount of 5-star online reviews you have. So if you don't think that's important, I don't know what else is. Because if people are checking you out, they're going to check out invariably the amount of online reviews you have. And I've talked about this before. I mean, there used to be a time where we as agents would decide, hey, I've got a referral and I live in Los Angeles, California. I need an agent in Spokane, Washington. So what do? We talk to our office and see if there's an office up there and they can recommend an agent. And then we would, this is the old days. We'd go on Facebook and go into like a Facebook real estate agent group and say, hey, who knows an agent in Spokane, Washington? It cracks me up that people still do this, So just because someone knows someone up there makes you think that suddenly that agent up there in Spokane is going to be good. You're just trusting that one other person that referred them, right? So what do people do now? Well, for a long time, people in the know went to Zillow and they went to the agent finder, and they would actually go to Zillow's agent finder. This is probably the last 4 or 5 years what the top agents would do. And they would go to that local area and they would look at the agents that have the most reviews on Zillow, because that was a safe bet. You had an agent that had tons of Zillow reviews. That's an agent that was smart enough and knowledgeable enough to know to go claim all their listings on Zillow every time they closed, because you have to do that. And if you don't know how to do that, you know what I mean? So you now you can't prove to the world all the transactions you've closed. And they also knew that for a long time was the place you got the most reviews that people would see. The most people would see it. So for a long time, Zillow is where you wanted all your reviews, because the public would go check it out. And if agents that were referring from Los Angeles to Spokane, Washington would go look at the highest reviewed agents in that area on Zillow, and they go through the agent finder, and that's how they'd find out. If you wanted to get the best agent, because you have to see the amount of reviews. There's a lot of ways to get names of people, but you cannot get proof positive that they're actually any good. An agent that gets a lot of reviews, I guess they may not be that good, but they're at least responsible enough to know to get them. So they've had some education and they're diligent enough to have systems to ask for them. That shows something. You know that they're not disconnected. They probably have a full-time job in real estate. They're not doing other things. They'll be responsive. So you can get a lot out of that. Just like if you want an agent in Spokane, Washington to refer business to you, I don't care what company they're from. It doesn't matter. Oftentimes it doesn't matter to them. They're just going to go look at Google now because Google's where you got to be. And they're going to look at the agents that come up at the top in the local service ads section that have the most reviews. That's my safe bet. Just like on Amazon. That's my safe bet. That's the product with 10,000 reviews. It's just safer. It's way safer than just getting a name recommendation from someone that knows somebody up there. How do you know the person that knows someone really knows if they're good or not? They just may be pals or cousins or a friend of a friend. But someone that's got tons of online reviews and sales in that area, that's pretty safe. So agents that have a lot of online reviews get tons of referrals from other agents. So if you wonder how the rich get richer, that's how. The highest producing agents always seem to have the most reviews. And they keep getting more and more business from other agents that have lots of reviews because they know it's safe to go that way. All right, so let's first talk about where we get these online reviews, okay? I would say the number one most important place to have reviews is going to be Google going forward. Okay. So that's probably the most important place. It's the most universal. It's picking up the most steam. It's going to have the most people looking at them. I think, we started talking about this in early 2021. That's when it got, I think it rolled out in the end of 2020. But Google local service ads at least hit in the end of 2020. It has picked up so much steam. It's unbelievable. And it's just going to keep doing it, as we've talked about. So having Google reviews, I think is where we're saying it's number one. Now, prior to 2021, I would have probably told you Zillow's number one because most people are on Zillow. It is what it is. Don't hate the player, hate the game. And I've always told you not to be worried about Zillow. They will go by the way of the dinosaur quicker than we will. And they are. But the people are there. There's no doubt about it. Doesn't mean Zillow's making any money. But there's people there. People love those websites. Okay? So I would say Zillow is number two now. And they will soon be number three. Someone's going to beat them. So I would make sure Google, if we're focusing on something, I'd focus on Google. Second would be Zillow. Now, there are some areas where Yelp is really big. And you have to watch Yelp. I would put Yelp number three. Okay? But it just depends where you live. If you're in a metro area, an urban area, Yelp is usually very, very popular there. If you're in a rural area, it is usually not that big. That's just my experience from what we've seen from our clients. Those are not absolutes. There could be exceptions to those rules. But generally speaking, you can get Yelp reviews as well. It is very hard to get online reviews, as you have all seen if you've tried. You can have 100 very close friends and you'll ask them all from a review and 5 of them will give them to you because it's a pain in the butt. It really isn't a pain in the butt, but for some reason it feels like one because it's hard to get people to give them to you. You know what makes it even harder? Asking for 3 reviews at once on Google, Zillow, and Yelp. So sometimes you got to focus on one of them. And if you're going to focus on one, I would pick Google. Make sense? But you'll take them anywhere you can. I think Zillow is still number 2. However, I don't like Zillow's future in reviews. And if you guys want to know why I don't like Zillow's future in reviews is Zillow's future is uncertain. They start a lot of programs and discontinue them. And what ends up happening is over time, Zillow discontinued their iBuyer program, which I think we told you was going to happen, right? Because they weren't making any money. Zillow also has talked about, they're moving from a pay for leads program into a flex program where they actually pay a referral fee to teams that have demonstrated the ability to convert at a high level. So you don't pay per leads per month anymore. You earn your way into their flex program. And then in some areas, they actually have a brokerage. They have agents working for them, hanging their license with them. And if that's the case, I really doubt they're going to give 5-star reviews to other agents in that MLS. In fact, in most MLSs, it would be against the code of ethics to rank other agents because you're not allowed to say negative or things about other agents. And if you're a member of the MLS practicing, how on earth could you have like a tiered ranking system on your website? So in other words, your Zillow reviews may very well be going away at some point if Zillow does transition into real estate more. So don't throw a lot of effort into Zillow reviews. I think they're the second most important right now, but I don't like their future. Google, I really, really like Google's staying power. I think they're kind of like the internet. They're not going anywhere. It's going to be here. Makes sense? So I like that. Other places that are underrated, like Angie's List, stuff like that. Like you'd be surprised. Get on Angie's List. No one's ever on that. And you do have people using that kind of stuff. If you're not a realtor with good reviews on there, little small niche things like that can be very, very powerful. Okay. Any of those referral sources we've talked about in the past, different companies, they rank their agents like the Home Lights of the world and stuff like that. Get on those. Get on those and get referral leads from them. Okay. So that would be my sources. Okay. And I see a lot of you having questions. We will wrap them up. We just, most of you guys came on a little bit later, so we kind of got on this topic, if that makes sense. Okay. So let's talk about how to grow your reviews. And here's the most important thing you do is make them systematized. If there's anything you learn from me, and this is what the top agents are so good at, they systematize their asks. Okay. In other words, they don't just ask when they think about it, when they're motivated. That does not work in real estate for anything. Just like they don't just call their SOI when they're motivated and they feel like it. They have a system, they have a time block, and they go like a robot. Because I'll tell you, if you don't go like a robot, you're in for an emotional roller coaster. Up, down, motivated, demotivated, depressed because I didn't get it, and blah, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down. So we want to have it as part of your process, right? So where does the process start? It starts in a buyer consultation or a listing appointment. So when you first have contact, it needs to come out in that conversation that your goal is to provide a 5-star service to them because you believe a lot in your client reviews and you want to do your business by word of mouth. And that's where you get most of your business. So my goal is to represent you in a manner where you are fully comfortable in giving me a 5-star review on Google when we're done. Does that sound fair to you? They will then say, yes, of course. So we plant the seed in the initial meeting, buyer consultation or listing consultation, wherever you start. Then in your listing to contract and contract to close checklist, we are going to have lots of different opportunities where we can celebrate. And that's any moment of good news. Examples of moments of good news from listing to contract and contract to close. We just had an open house and we had a record 40 people through that house this weekend. We have not seen that type of traffic generated in months, if not years. So there's good news. When we deliver good news to our client, which we always want to do, we don't want to leverage that to someone else on our team or our industry. The lead agent, the person that's the lead generator, the person that can generate the business and that has the relationship with the client needs to be asking for business now. You can ask for referrals or you can ask for online reviews. Say, does this make you feel a little bit more comfortable about giving us that 5-star review on Google moving forward? And if they say, yes, absolutely, I will. You can send them the link right then. So you have to have that Google generated link or that Yelp link or whatever you're asking for handy on your phone. You got to be quick with it. Well, since I got you, send it. So you're asking for it throughout. Christian just threw something in the chat room that's important too. It's a link shortener called Bitly. Thank you for the reminder there. It's Bitly, and it's a free service where you can type in a big old long link that sometimes gets generated when you want to send people to your Google page to give you a Google review. And it makes it a itty bitty, a Bitly link that is very easy to text somebody without giving them this huge, weird, like hyperlink paragraph thing via text message. So Bitly is a way to make big, cumbersome hyperlinks short and tidy. It's kind of like, it's a great way, you know, when you're posting on social media too, if you're going to post a link, always send it through Bitly first to make it tidy. Make sense? So good one there. Thank you, Christian. Appreciate it. So that makes a lot of sense. Okay. So we want to get that link generator. And if you go into Google, you just log in your Google My Business profile. And the first thing you're going to see in there on that home page when you log in is a link generator. Here's how you give this link out to people you want to review from. Then you just copy that link, put it into the Bitly search bar, and it'll make it real short for you and give it to everybody. Okay. And then the next time we celebrate, the next mode of celebration might be when we get an offer accepted. Hey, we got an offer on your property and we just negotiated it. And guess what? They accepted your counter offer. Hooray, man, this is awesome. We generated 5 offers on your property. We negotiated this property, put it under contract for $10,000 above your asking price. So I'm going to ask you again, is this in alignment with what you would consider a 5-star service and still feel comfortable? So I'm actually setting, see how I keep going with it? I'm cementing it in their brain. If you don't think I need to do this, go ahead and ask 50 of your closest friends to give you a review. See how many you get. You won't get many. It's impossible. I don't know why it's so hard. I can't tell you how many books I've written on Amazon that I need Amazon reviews for so bad. And I got people that are raving fans that want me to sign their book, and I sign their book, and they love my book, and they say, this is the Bible to me. This book saved me. Hey, can you give me a 5-star review? You bet. Never see him again. Never see him again. That's just the way it works. So don't be hurt. It's just hard to get. I mean, I'm the same way. I'll love a product more than anything, but the minute it asks me for a review, I'm like, I don't have time for that. So that's the way it works. So getting into running through each of these moments of celebration, the next moment of celebration might be after the appraisal comes back. You can say that's a rarity too. With prices going up, we don't have another comp in your neighborhood that's sold at this high of a price. You just set the new highest price per square foot in your neighborhood. That is a reason to celebrate, my friend. We did it. We pushed the limit. We rolled the dice and we got it for you. You couldn't have sold it at a higher price. We pushed that appraiser. So I'm going to ask you again, is this in alignment with your expectations to give us a 5-star review on Google? Is that something I can get you to do now? Every time, ask them to do it now. Because remember, if you just wait till the end, they can go poof and disappear on you into the ether. And you know what percentage of people say yes and don't actually do it. It's a very high percentage. Like 75% of the people outside of your immediate family. So you got to have an opportunity to keep asking throughout the transaction. And guess what? Because they know that they're going to be talking to you more between the point when you ask them and the closing date, that creates peer pressure. They know it's going to be awkward if you keep asking and you keep saying, no, I haven't done it yet. So what do? They do it. They freaking do it. So that's why you keep asking and you set a pattern of asking. And it gets awkward each time. No, I still haven't done it. I say, well, what do I have to do here, man? I mean, look at me. And you laugh about it and make a joke of it. And you freaking get that rope out and you tie it around that calf's ankles and you flip it upside down and you throw the bandana in the air and you get it. You know, it's not your first rodeo. You're going to do this every single time. Okay. So you do it after you negotiate inspections, because once the inspections are done, all the negotiations are over. So guess what? You're good to go to closing now. We're done. Hire the movers, pay the deposit. Let's get going on that next house. Let's start packing up. We're good. Everything's negotiated. So let's go. Congratulations. You're moving. Next celebration point, closing day. Here's the keys. Give me the keys, whatever. Congratulations. If you still don't have it, 30 days after closing, follow-up customer service call. How's it going? Are you having any problems? We're here for you. Our customer service does not stop at closing. Do you need any help? Do you need me to get any contractors out there? Did you discover anything? Do you need any work done? What can I do? Oh, and by the way, 90 days later, another customer service follow-up call. How's the house? Any problems? Remember to call me. Our customer service doesn't stop at closing. All reasons to follow up. Always ask for your 5-star review. And then going forward, on your house's closing anniversary date every year, happy anniversary. Just checking in. How are you doing? How's the house? Do you need any help? Do you want me to get any of my contractors or vendors out there for you? Remember, we give these guys a ton of business so we can hold the highest level of customer service and make sure they give you the most affordable prices too. Our customer service does not stop in closing. And oh, by the way, we always do our business by referral and by word of mouth, and we always want to work with more people like you. Would you have any problem if I were to send you a quick link on your phone, giving us a 5-star review on Google for our continued customer service? See, I never stop. I can actually ask someone 10 times inside of a year of their closed transaction, and I'm going to get that online review. Close to 100% chance of it. And by me asking, I'm cementing in their brain that I am providing the best customer service they've ever heard of. I'm reminding them 10 times. I'm telling them how to think about me. Welcome to sales. That is neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP. It works. It's scientifically proven. Okay? So we ask over and over again. So that's the key, is putting a system in place like that we always ask from our past clients. Another really big one that can get outside of that, probably the biggest online review grabber, is client events. So when you have a client event, like a big one that's coming up for a lot of people, is photos with Santa, because everybody needs to get photos with Santa. Then you got photos with the Easter Bunny, and people aren't going to go to the mall anymore because no one really goes to malls, and they don't want to wait in those big lines. So instead, they just go to one of their local agents' cheap client events, really just where you get a Santa suit and dress somebody up in it and have a photographer there. And they can get photos of Santa. But there's tons of client events. I mean, I think we've talked about that to death, all the hundreds of different client event ideas that you can do out there and how to do them affordably, or at least have, your vendors sponsor them. Regardless, let's say people are showing up to my Photos with Santa event. I've got a laptop out, right? They got to register. Guess how they gain admittance? They get admitted by giving you a 5-star review. Okay, so what we do, again, we got to watch Google reviews. We can't be logging people in on the same laptop over and over again, giving you Google reviews, or they will get denied and rejected. So we also can't do it from the same Google profile over and over again. So we can't have everyone logging into your laptop. But what we can do is register them, give them a wristband or a name badge or a sticker or whatever. And then, as a condition for that, we then text them, just say, I need your phone number. Great. We're going to text you. Here's a link. Would you mind giving us a 5-star Google review? And once you show me you've given me that review, I will take this raffle ticket for a new iPad or a new whatever, 2 photos with Santa, whatever. I'm going to throw it into this little bucket back here, and we're going to draw a winner later. So if you can get 200 to 300 people come to Photos with Santa, you're probably going to get 200 to 300 reviews, and they're all going to do it from their own individual phones because you text them the link right there, and you're going to get everybody's cell phone number. So client events are huge winners if you're organized, because every person needs to register, and everybody has got to give you a 5. Can you imagine the one person says, no, I don't want to give you a 5-star review, but you want to take my photo with Santa? That's weird. It's awkward. No one's going to do that, nor do they. And they don't have to be a past client. You can even have a list of different sample things they can say about you. I mean, it could be something as simple as, if they're uncomfortable, they don't have to say anything about you. Because a client event is not just for clients. A client event is everybody that you want to be a client. It's for everybody in your sphere of influence. It's for people that might be your client in your future. Everyone's your client. Your client doesn't just stop and start with people you're under contract with. It's everyone in your sphere of influence. It's everyone in your SOI. So these are all people that know you and refer people to you. So we're going to treat them all like clients, and they can all testify to your goodwill, or they can just give you 5 stars and not say anything. That's fine too. Okay. So again, you can also have a bunch of sheets of paper of sample ideas that they can say out there. Let me give you an idea what some of those look like very, very quickly here. So I'll drop this in there for you. Let me just scroll down here a little bit. You can see these are, for a local seller, here's something you can have a local seller say. Here's something you can have a local buyer say, an out-of-state buyer. Just have little scripts for them, because a lot of people get very, very quickly tongue-tied. Like they just don't know what to write. There's a lot of people that just can't do that. And if you show them a couple examples, they'll do it very, very quickly. Have a couple short ones too. It could just say, Brian is the best. You know what I mean? Then you don't have to be a client of mine that I've ever sold or bought real estate to. Just that could be great. I would trust Brian. I would refer any client to Brian. You just give them all those little short scripts. That's all they have to type in there, and that's that. Okay, so up here, sorry about that. You can see this is an email template that you can send to all your past clients. Okay. And what this will basically do is it kind of talks on here, thanks for representing you. Word of mouth's my priority. Here's some ideas about how you can actually write your review for me. And again, as I showed you before, here are, ways you can ask for those reviews from sellers, from buyers, from out-of-state buyers, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm going to drop those in the chat room for you guys.
Is there a way to generate a QR code that they can scan when they come to an event?
I think you could scan a QR code. I'm not sure if you can get the QR code to link. Do you know the answer to that, Candace? Can we get a QR code to link to a review? I think so.
Yeah,
I think you could get it.
Bitly actually has an option where you can take any of those short links and convert it to a QR code. Or if you are using the Chrome browser, you can actually right click. Actually, not even, you could right click, but up in the browser window at the top, you're actually going to have an option where it looks like 4 little squares, and you can turn any page into a QR code. So if you find your business page, you could get your QR code, download it, and use that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Excellent question. And that's another option there, is use your QR code to link directly to it. Then you can just have people scan it. That's great too. The only issue is people need to have a Gmail address or have some sort of Google account, which most do. Most do. Okay. Yeah. In this day and age, it's kind of crazy not to. If they don't, again, just move past them. It's a numbers game. It's just the way you got. That's welcome to real estate on that, huh? Everything's a numbers game. So don't get hung up on the people that can't do it. Get hung up on how many people can do it, right? So we'll email all those past clients with that as well too. Let me show you a couple more here. I just want to make sure you have as well. So I'm going to give you a few more options. And I think you all can see this as well too. Here is a great way, like on a social media post. And again, this is fully editable, and it is a PowerPoint slide. So you can totally edit it, get on here and click and change anything you want. And it's a great way just on Facebook. Hey, we need your review. And it kind of tells you, we're even going to have a raffle for a $100 Amazon gift card. So you can post this as well too, and kind of create an online contest for people to give you a 5-star review as well. Another quick way to generate it. And I will drop that in the chat room for you guys as well. It's also important. I mean, you've got a big sphere of influence database, and quickly creating a custom email and sending it out to them, just saying, hey, we're trying to generate 5-star reviews. You could put a hyperlink and the QR code in there. So whether, depending on where they're at, if they're on their mobile phone, if they're just need to click on a link, we give them a link and send out an email to everybody to give us a 5-star review. Again, you do this. If you send this to 200 people, you're going to be lucky to get 10 or 20 of them to do it. But it's at least 10 or 20 you didn't have. So I definitely start here, is send out an email to everybody in your sphere of influence database using this script, and it's a start. We can also take this and put it into a social media post or a canva.com image and direct message it to all of our friends on Facebook and ask for it that way by putting a hyperlink in there with it. Because that's a little more personal. There's a little accountability there. If you see even though you're sending it to every single person, as far as they know, you just sent it to them. And when they see that, it's like, oh, I better do that. That's a friend of mine. You know what I'm saying? So you get a much higher return from that activity. But of course, just like anything in real estate, it takes a little bit more work because you have to DM that to each person you're friends with individually. But I mean, it's one of those things that's a mindless activity for you. It's something you could be doing as you're sitting staring at the TV at night with your kids, watching ridiculous children's shows. I think I'm actually venting now. Where you're just mindlessly doing something, and trying to watch Crazy Town on TV. So that's one more way to do it as well too. Very, very popular. Now, all of those things are kind of slow potatoes, believe it or not. Well, one little thing I want to make sure I mention, I think I mentioned this when we talked about Google LSAs as well too. When you are getting a Google review, it enables you the ability, I think you can all see this, it enables you the ability to reply to your reviews. Do that. Reply to your reviews, okay? So if this person gives me a review, I can then reply to it. And you always want to do that on Google, okay? You want to do it very personal. So if Karina leaves me an email, a response, you want to reply back, thanks, Karina. Don't just say thank you so much, because thank you so much can look like an automated program, and Google does not like that. Google is a search engine, and believe it or not, your Google My Business profile, which generates your reviews and houses your reviews, is searched and is included in Google search results. And if you show a lot of reviews and organic replies to them that are personal, that has been proven to trigger Google's algorithm and get you more traffic and local service ad leads. Okay? So make sure you reply personally to every review you get on Google, at least. Okay? Very, very important. Hal asked a question, the contest for the $100 Amazon gift card, how long would you leave it open? I think 30 days is probably the norm, Hal. I think 30 days is probably the norm. But I mean, you could, depending on how much money you want to spend, really. I mean, you could do, if you want to, you'd probably be more effective if you did it once a week and you say, you have till this Friday, only open for 5 days. I mean, you did that. Now, here we go again, contest number 2. You know what I'm saying? And you keep doing it like that. Again, it's going to cost more money as you do that. But the shorter the time period of any contest, the higher the motivation to participate in the contest. So yeah, that's how I would say from a time frame on that is what works. Now, what I'm going to share with you is, so you'll see lots of people. I mean, we at Icenhower Coaching and Consulting, we do coach many of the highest producing agents and teams in North America. They often, not surprisingly, have the most reviews on places like Google and Zillow. And it's because they do all the stuff I just told you and then some. And now I want to tell you about the and then some. Because everybody goes, there's got to be a way to get a lot of reviews. Can I buy a lot of reviews? How do I get a lot of reviews? There's a way. There's not a way on Amazon that I know of, because I've tried. But there is a way that we've seen work on Google. And so I'm going to tell it to you. And it's a little tricky, but boy, does it work. So what you do is you hire temporary people on a temporary basis. You hire someone and you put up an ad or a marketing ad. Hey, I want you to work. It's a temporary job, work from home, flexible hours, maybe an hour a day for 2 weeks, and I'll pay you $1,000. And you'll get people all over the place that want to do that gig. It's very easy to find people. And then you're going to tell them what they do. And what they're going to do is they're going to go through their phone, their own phone, and send your review link to everyone in their phone. And they're going to be very truthful and say, I just started working for the Brian Icenhower team, and I'm looking to grow our team's online presence. So I'm asking you if you'd be willing to give us a 5-star review. And you do that and you text that same copy and paste message to everybody in your phone. And what you're doing is you're paying people to use their databases. See what I'm doing? And you are employing them, and it's temporary, and it's going to come from other people's. And you tell them, hey, don't send it to the same people. Don't have different people. Yes, it can be 5 stars and no words, but words are better for SEO, Christian. But it does, any review is better than it, because, a lot of reviews looks real good too. But 5 words is a little bit better for SEO. So you see what I'm saying? So it takes a lot, because it's tough. I mean, you're going to see a lot of people say yes, and it's a lot because you're just hiring people. So a lot of my top teams, they just keep going through people. Who do you know? Like you'll get like 20 people apply for this job. They'll hire 4 of them at once because 3 of them won't even show up for the meeting. And then once they hear what they have to do and they send it to one person, they get made fun of for one friend. They just forget it and they stop and they quit. So then now down to 2 people. And then the 2 people, maybe one of them actually completes it, because they have to get a minimum of like 100 or 200 reviews to get paid. And you're paying anywhere from $5 to $10 a review. And then after that's done in 2 weeks, you got to have 5 or 10 more to go, because you just got 100, 200 reviews. It's not going to cut it. To get a bunch of business off Google LSA, for example, you need to be up at 800, 1,000 reviews. 100 to 200, you're not going to notice anything. You got to be number one. Just like on Amazon, you got to be number one if you want to get a lot of Google LSA. So you got to do it. And so it becomes, again, it's super hard. You're putting yourself out there. You're hiring people. People are going to say, this is unethical. I don't work for you. Well, if that's a problem, you're one of the ones that's out. I didn't lie at all. I told the truth the whole way through. Very open and honest. And then the people you tell this to, they might say, I don't want to do that. It's unethical. You may say, I don't want to do it. It's unethical. It's not unethical. I didn't lie one bit. In fact, I didn't even puff or exaggerate. I just was straight up honest. That's all you do.
Brian, Amazon does the same thing, because I actually do it for them and I get free items out of it.
I have. It's not the exact same way. They don't have you just go through your phone, do they?
Well, you go through different companies that are just sending you stuff and saying, hey, do you want to write a review on this?
I have seen that. It's just much slower though, isn't it?
What do you mean by slower?
Well, I have heard that they do it, but you can only get like 20 reviews a week. Like they don't grow their reviews tremendously.
Well, it depends on the company you're working for. So that's the reason I bring that up, because like one of them that I do it with just to get free items, they have hundreds and hundreds of people doing this.
Give me the name of one of these companies. I want to check them out.
I can give you the name of the Facebook group I'm in, and I'm now set up through his like personal chat. So I guess I did enough reviews to get on his personal chat, but
got it. Okay.
I'll find out for you.
No, I appreciate it, Felicia. Yeah, that is interesting, because that's the concept. So thank you. That gives me credibility. I mean, it does happen at a professional level from legit businesses. So you'll see these top teams that like, how do they get 1,000 reviews? Very rarely do they do it organically. They actually go out there and they start bringing people in and they start paying for them. And they actually do like, they'll onboard, they'll bring on like 4 of these people at once that all want to make $1,000 in your little work from home plan. And they'll do like a little listing presentation with them to make them feel good. You can see, here's who we are. Here's what we do for the community. Here's how many homes we sell. We're good. So you can feel good about us. You can, you're going to refer us to your friends to give 5-star reviews. So you actually have to sell them on you a little bit, a little Zoom walkthrough, right? And then you explain the program to them. So it's like an orientation, and here's how it works. And you're going to want to check back with them every couple days to make sure that the numbers are still going up, because they'll often disappear on you. They'll often absolutely disappear on you. So getting a few people pushing those there really, really helps. Okay. If that makes sense. Okay. So that's the idea there, is you're actually hiring people, leveraging their databases on a temporary basis and compensating them for getting 5-star reviews from the people they know in their telephone database. That is what I have seen being the fastest way to growing online reviews from real estate that's proven without ramification. I mean, you're not violating any Google rules at all from doing that. We've actually talked with the people at Google. They don't see how that could be a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you're having people give you testimonials. You don't have to be a client to give a testimonial on Google. It'd be no more crazy than having someone give you a review that comes to your client event. Make sense? So that's the idea behind it. Client events, very, very big. Systematizing with past clients, very, very big. And then, of course, you can go to that next level with it where you're starting to employ people on a temporary basis and compensating them and leveraging their databases for you, if that makes sense. Okay.